In today's episode, we're going to be talking with Joost Assink about his journey from making custom dioramas to creating one of the top producers for dioramas, figures, and vehicles. Don't go away.
This is your Geek Thing.
Appreciate you coming on. Of course, today
My pleasure.
We have Joost Assink. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, all at once. Very impressive.
Really? Yeah, there you go. now I mess up Vince's, though. See your last name, Vince.
Veldkamp.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So
Of course, you guys have
cheesehead then.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, something in common. So you're located out in the Netherlands, which is very cool. And now at the same time, our viewers are going to look at the title of this, and they're going to say, "Who's Joost?" Right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about. I mean, it is interesting. I know you've had to probably tell this story a billion times. It's probably one of like the standards for you. But at the same time, I'm interested about not just your actual name, but your YouTube channel to your actual company now. How that all came about. Like, tell us a little about what the name of with you and then JazzInc.
Well, okay, so Joost is, I guess, your most typical Dutch name, would you say?
Kind of,
yeah. So, I've been into geek stuff all my life, and I always like to thank my Uncle Ben for getting me into that. I remember in the time of VHS, early 80s, he just gave me a bunch of tapes like, watch this, you're going to like this. Turns out that was Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
like you have an actual uncle named Ben?
Yes. And he was my Kenobi getting me through into the collecting world, because he was actually the first, and I think one of the only Dutchies I've ever met that was a genuine collector. Like, he had the Kenner stuff, he had all of it, and he had the cool stuff twice so that he could keep one mint in box, right? So that was a thing with him way before I knew that was a thing for real, right? So like I said, again, early 80s, you have to imagine the Netherlands, small country, and then we are in the east of the Netherlands, close to the German border, so it's like way out in the boondocks, there's nothing there.
Right.
Just to give you an idea, my very first Star Wars Kenner figure was the only one the toy shop carried, which was Hammerhead. I was kind of disappointed. I was going there on my bike with my allowance. I was, 8 or 9. And I was going to go either Darth Vader or Luke, and I was in my head, well, it's going to be a tough choice. Turns out that was no choice. It was Hammerhead or nothing.
That's funny. Is that why is that? Why was that the only one that was around?
Yeah. Like I said, there was one camping / outdoor / toy store in the whole of the town I lived in. That was all one thing. It was behind a house in a big... So the camp stuff was upstairs. You had to go into the basement to get to the toys stuff. That was the store, and that was what they had. They had one Kenner figure, and it was Hammerhead, and that was it. So don't ask me why, but that was my introduction to the Star Wars toys. And the good thing is, Michael Ben, he was an interior designer for stores. So. He hooked me up real good. So every time there was a new cool toy store that he designed for, he got us in the day before the opening. And the first time that happened, I was like this whole rack of Kenner stuff, right? And I'd never seen that. So I could just select, and I could get my favorite, which was Stormtrooper disguise Luke.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
When my father had to go to Amsterdam for work to the World Trade Center, he came back with a General Calrissian figure. It all worked out in the end. I got a Y-wing and the Kenner.
Oh, wow.
The Kenner, what was that thing? The Y-shaped.
the Badiri show.
Yeah. But that was one of my favorites. And then... that's the first time I learned about the right type of glue to use, because these things, with the wings dropping at quite a heavy weight and just the plastic holding it up, the rattle system broke.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a really strong kind of glue, which was too strong because it could dissolve the plastic. So,
oh, wow. Yeah.
I made it worse. And it's also my Uncle Ben teaching me how to. Yeah, you're gonna screw up when you mess around with stuff, but let's learn from the mistake and see how we can fix it.
Yeah.
So that's my Uncle Ben, and unfortunately, he passed away before the company and all the stuff really came to pass. That's one of my big regrets. Though his brother, my father, works in the company. But so that, and we really didn't, like I said, we didn't have access to a lot of stuff. So it was an internet video somewhere in 2013, 2014. It was a suggestion by YouTube. It was IGN at the convention, Comic-Con San Diego, and they went to the sideshow booth.
Yeah.
And they showed all kinds of stuff, and I was like, holy.
This is their 1/6 scale statues and things, or bigger?
Oh, everything. So
everything.
So I remember they showed their Sauron quarter scale and their the Dark Rider on a horse quarter scale premium formats. Because I when I got getting into collecting around 2013-14, I went back and forth between premium format, quarter scale statues, and fixed scale stuff a lot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the quarter scale stuff that had a presence and you could do really dynamic, dramatic poses, but it got boring after a while because you couldn't do your own poses. You couldn't shake it up and change it again. And that's why I landed on 6 scale at the end. But then I wanted something that would have the impact of the cool statues, right? So I started. Actually, it was a picture somebody from the Dutch Facebook collecting community sent to me, and it was a diorama. And putting your Hot Toys figures into a diorama.
What was the diorama?
Cool.
It
was a Death Star type diorama.
Oh yeah.
And then I tried to contact the people who made that, and it was very pricey, and the wait was like 12 months or something. And I was like, I like to create stuff, make stuff. I have a big project every year, from making a guitar or a tube amplifier to, well, in this case, diorama. So I made a diorama for myself, and I showed it around on it was called Sideshow Freaks back then, the forum.
Yeah, Sideshow Freaks, yeah.
And people were flipping out over it, and then somebody shared it on Facebook, and that got me into the Facebook and the Facebook groups. And people kept asking me, "Oh, where can I buy this?" And well, I'm like, "Yeah, you can't, because I made it. I had no intention of going through those grueling 6 months once more.
Right.
So this is it."
Yeah.
And it was, I always remember it was the 36th guy to ask me. He was French, and he was like, "Well, what are your objections then?" He said, "Well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And when you're shipping out a diorama, you're shipping out a lot of air, and it's not designed to be shipped around the world." So he was like, "All right, well, there's a couple ways to fix that. So you don't want to have as much work with it, and you don't want to ship out around a lot of air. Why don't you do it IKEA style, where you redesign it so that the people can assemble it themselves.
Yeah.
And you can flat pack it, and that way you don't have to do the assembly, and you're not shipping out air 2 for 1. And I was like, And I think I said, yeah, well, you know what? It's going to be like $1,000, and if you get like 12 people together, then maybe we can talk about it. And within 24 hours, they're like, all right, here we go.
Wow.
I got 12 guys for you. Yeah, and they did. They did. And so, all right. And so another serendipitous thing, my dad retired, and he got bored. And because I had a day job, I had a dog, I had a wife, I had 2 kids. I like to play musical instruments, right? So where do I get the time? And he was like, well, I can help you. So I taught him airbrushing, weathering, and I redesigned the diorama I had designed so that people could actually assemble it. I got my cousin in one weekend, and we did a whole assembly video. I wrote an assembly instruction.
Oh, wow.
And
better than IKEA. Easy to follow.
I didn't have the guy with the question mark and the telephone on mine. So and that's how it got started. And I always called. I really don't like the name JazzInc Dioramas. Again, this is because it's a company against my will now. Well, I love it now, but I tried to fight it for the longest time. So, like I said, I love playing instruments, and I already had a YouTube channel dedicated to music and playing guitar and tutorials and all that sort of thing. And so when I got into collecting, I had to make a second YouTube channel, and I couldn't use my actual name because that was saved for the first channel. And I used the gaming moniker when I was a kid. It just takes my first name and last name, and it turns the S's into Z's and the K into a C, and you got JazzInc. I'm not particularly into jazz, but that's basically, and so that was my alias for collecting on YouTube. And I did a lot of tutorials on how to wire and make like a C3PO for USB power instead of batteries. A lot of battle damaging, repainting and faces, all that sort of thing. Way before, so that was basically how that came to be, and people started to referring to me as JazzInc because of that YouTube channel, which is why the company is now called JazzInc. Even though, I think what's way more accurate is I've actually claimed the domain for the Collectibles Collective, because basically it's a grassroots group. Yeah. And together we decide what we want to do, right? So I did the first diorama, and then there were a bunch of guys and girls that were like, wow, very cool, but I don't have the money or space or both. Could you do this for a DTOLF size? So we redid the thing in a DTOLF size, and then it was around that time that Hot Toys got into the Star Wars game. And there was one con, I don't know where they showed their first Darth Vader and Stormtroopers. And it was they placed it in the Tactic 4 entryway diorama, and people were like, "Yo, can you make this?" And I was like, "Never done it, so I guess I can." So I did that. I did that for DTOLF, and then they were like, "Yeah, cool, but could you make it more true to scale?" And they even came up with the name True Scale. So that became a product line, the True Scale line, which is somewhere in between the DTOLF and the Ultimate, which was the one I got started on. That was like 4 feet or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. That is, I will say a little background with this channel is the first product, or the first thing I was going to do on this channel back in the day was upgrade the 3-foot Millennium Falcon toy, if you've ever seen it. And there was 2 inspirations, and one of them was the DeAugustini model, and the other one was your cockpit.
Wow.
That you made. Yeah. That was totally, I was like, that's what I want. But a little bit smaller. It's that's, I mean, the details that you had in the ways that you had it set up is just, that is my favorite thing that's the favorite thing still that you've made that I like. But you have so many things. It's hard to tell just on your site all the different areas that you guys have gone into from Star Wars. I mean, Batman's the one that's most obvious right now. But you also have some Iron Man's things that you did as far as like diorama stuff back in the day, didn't you?
Well, I did.
I've been watching your things for a while.
And, then we did the Iron Scavenger figure. And,
which is amazing. So, that is so nice looking.
Yeah. And it was a nice break from the more complex stuff of doing figures, vehicles, and dioramas. So that was cool, and it also showed us that we could do figures. And so that's why we're now Warner Brothers now is talking to us about doing a whole figure line. So that's also kind of cool coming up.
Well, that's one of the big things that you do is you tend to find gaps too, where certain characters haven't been covered that at the same time everybody wants. I know, one of those, I mean, like you had Penguin's one of the ones that you looked at and you wanted to do for a while, specifically the Danny DeVito one, but there's some problems I understand from being able to get that one done. Is that still an issue, or?
Well, so on the one hand, and this is cool thing about doing these live streams, there was somebody said, you know what? If Danny DeVito has such problems with it, how come NECA did a quarter scale approved and licensed one? And I went back to them with that. And apparently he's very picky. And so we've come up with a very, very cool prototype for his penguin. And now we've submitted that so that he can see that we're serious and that it's going to be very high quality, probably rooted hair and the whole.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
More towards the in-art type level of figures. And so now that's back with him. In the meantime, I did have a very cool call with Warner Brothers last Tuesday where I basically have approval for a whole bunch of other figures. So a lot of the old 66 stuff.
Cool.
But also Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze.
Really?
Michelle Pfeiffer's, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. So all those are approved, and they all we have to give approval for our actual prototype, which I've understood to mean that they can have some comments on maybe tweak this, tweak that, and that's why it's probably going to take a very long time. They warned me about this. We've seen it. I mean, Hot Toys has had to deal with the same thing. I believe the Drax figure is a very good example of that.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have any deadlines, right? So the actors can take as long as they want. And sometimes they take up to 6 months to respond to a single thing. So
it's not a priority for them. Yeah.
No, and so it's still going to be one that's going to take a long time. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you the figures are coming. And let me see. I can give you a scoop here. Why not?
Here it comes.
So, all right. So this is what we have so far.
Catwoman.
So the cool thing is,
the original
I'm also
Catwoman.
Talking, and I'm talking to her agent.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So this might also come out as a limited numbered signature edition.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And so with her signature on the limited edition plate. This one's definitely coming.
Yeah, Dick Grayson.
Yeah, we're also talking to the agent of Burt Ward. And all right, in terms of scoop, let's see. It is 95% sure that we are going to. You've seen our 1966 Batcycle, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So here's the plan. I uploaded the product to be a signature limited edition, but with signatures from me and my dad.
Right.
We're going to upgrade that because we have almost finalized the agreement with Burt Ward and his agent. And every single one of them is going to be numbered and signed by Burt Ward himself.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yep.
Yep. And again, it pays to back us early because we do have to do a small price increase that's coming July 1st. So if you want to stay ahead of that, order it now. But everybody who's ordered up until then, I'm paying for the signature, the plate, and everything with Burt Ward. So this one's definitely
pre-orders
coming.
Are good.
And, this one's definitely coming. And we're doing a double pack. So a Dick Grayson, Robin, double pack. And most likely, it's certain for the Batcycle. I'm thinking about also doing a limited run, a signature run of these double pack figures, maybe with an extra accessory or so, and a limited edition plate and a numbered plate signed by Burt Ward again.
Wow.
It's only signature Batman.
Hey.
Yeah. And then this one as well.
Yeah.
The idea for the sitting Batman is also approved.
Oh, wow.
So
you're not getting any Adam West signatures.
No, unfortunately not. No. This one probably not either. But this is going to be like Hot Toys had this Power Pose figure for a while. I don't know if you remember, but so the idea that came from the group again. I think it might have been Nelson. It's Nelson or Ansi. I just want to shout out to Nelson and Ansi. I think they were the ones who suggested this. We're at 30,000 members in our closed Facebook group. Sometimes it's hard to
Wow.
keep the name straight. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
yeah.
And you have to answer like 3 or 4 questions to even get in. So I'm very honored by this number. But anyway, so
Wow.
they said it's hard to get these figures to sit in the Batman suits, and you're damaging your figures. Why not make a sitting Batman? Because you got the Hot Toys 1989 Batmobile, you've got the JazzInc 1989 Batmobile,
Right.
you got the JazzInc
Batwing.
1989 Batwing.
Yep.
A sitting 1989 Batman is a good idea. And we're like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we asked for approval for that as well. Came out of a live stream like this. So that one's coming.
And
Wow.
you don't even have to
This
move the
one-
head either. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If it looks straight ahead, well, it's probably very easy to just make it do this. But anyway,
it's movie accurate though.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's a lot of this in the movie.
Yeah. I can't turn my hand.
Yeah. Where is
exactly.
he? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's movie accurate. You could
Yeah.
save some.
So there's
this
that
one-
was your penguin then. That's the one that you were proposing that you're
Yep.
sending to Danny to beat on.
Well,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Batman
Yep.
Returns.
You want to do that? This
Oh, wow.
one.
That one.
This
So
one-
go back to the last one for a second, because I mean that one's going to require. So you're going to have lighting and stuff, I'm guessing too, and then you get a lot of transparent shells and things too that would be going on. That seems like the more complex one. That's very cool. Awesome.
You know, all of this is a bit of a walk in the park compared to Batmobiles and Batwings. I can tell you.
Is it?
I mean,
Okay.
even if you look at something like the Iron Scavenger with the 4-foot wingspan,
Yeah.
and the exoskeleton is still easier to make.
Wow.
And send out than a huge
Vehicle.
car that weighs.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be my hobby / relaxation side of the company.
I'm gonna kicking out the figures is my Zen garden. So
Yeah, seriously, and because we've got a lot of talented sculptors that also applied for the job. Some of them you may know. So we got some really good sculptors there, and I'm quite confident that this would be And I don't know if you've seen our 1995 Batmobile with the blue and the light up and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, we know how to do that. So
Yeah.
So this, I agree. This is going to be more complicated than say an Adam West Batman or something like that. We've gotten our hands on the official tailoring, by the way, from the 1-to-1 scale.
Oh wow.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Anyway,
But also-
what do you want to say, Vincent?
Yeah, I also imagine that like you have people wearing these costumes, so they are practical by default. They're not CG or models that have to be adapted to the screen. So
That's true.
With a car model, you can cheat a little bit and make it look really cool. And I assume that if you want to make it look good in 3 dimensions, and especially in the resolution that you're building them, there is going to be a lot of compromises and a lot of additions, I guess, that you need to look forward to. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah.
It's a very good point you're making in several ways. I mean, let's talk about the 2022 Batmobile, right? The one that we're in production of now. That thing is over 350 parts per car, whereas the engine alone is over 150 parts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
insane. So, but the real thing will have thousands of parts. So somewhere you do have to make a choice on how you could get the part count down. Now, usually you're talking about a few dozen parts in most things, but like 350 is quite insane. I understand why Hot Toys didn't go beyond make a prototype. So, and so the same thing. We're working on the Jedi Starfighter, and there's a guy, Harry's, and he's an expert. And he showed me pictures, and he showed me one of the interesting challenges, the same we had to face with the snowspeeder.
Yeah.
Turns out, and I can show you a picture if you want.
Sure.
The original. Give me a second then. But the original. I have to do this off screen, but the original Jedi Starfighter was too small.
Oh yeah. You can stop sharing if you want.
Yeah. No, so that's all right. I just want to show you this picture. Are you seeing this picture?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Look at the feet. Look at the feet. There. Take out the glass.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
He was too tall for the original Starfighter, so we'll have to be creative with this one as well.
That's
so,
funny.
Or just leave it as is and keep his feet out.
That's right. This is movie accurate.
Yeah.
It's space. There's no problem with that.
Yeah. Apparently,
pretty
according
good.
to Barry, the director didn't like his bunched up knees in the air look, and so they said, "Just take out the plexiglass and relax your feet, son." And so here you go.
So now you're
That's
going to make
funny.
squatting Anakin as well.
That's
Yeah.
a pre-made. Yeah.
or no feet Anakin or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he already
Yeah,
lost
so
all
it's-
his arms. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wouldn't, that he would have fit. Yeah.
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 But,
He's ready to be
I'm
better.
at the high ground, Anakin. Anyway. Yeah. So this is interesting. Same with the snow speeder. There were holes in the floor for the snow speeder.
Oh, really?
Because
No.
the actors didn't fit, and on the scale models they just used the rumps, the upper torso bit of figures. So there's not even the scale model doesn't have a pilot with actual legs. So you have to cheat a little bit there. We had made it a little bit bigger, and did some other tricks to get the feet in there. But yeah. So
You
yeah,
mentioned
so
with your community and things. I mean, the one big thing that makes you very unique and your company really unique is how much you are listening to fans and the people that would that are the consumer and the collectors and also. I mean, they also act as a resource for you to be able to get a lot of the ideas or the tweaks and things like that as you're going along, and that's great. So, I mean, you really listen to your community and involve them in the process.
Exactly, and you're hitting the nail on the head. Why would you? I mean, we're working on the 1989 Batwheel, right?
Yeah,
and there's we've got. At the 11th hour, a 3D LiDAR scan of the actual hero car.
Nice.
Oh, really?
So
where did you go to do that? Did you actually go there, or did they do it for you?
Oh, they did it for us.
They did.
Actually,
Okay.
I think they also used that for the CGI that they needed in the Flash.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
of course.
yeah. Gotcha.
Oh,
And so I got that file, and so we now know the correct dimensions and the correct nose length, but still there's some detail lost on such a LiDAR scan, and there's a couple people, including Dominic, who is just so awesome, and they have researched the 1989 Batmobile down to like the chains used on the side pod and
wow,
the exact weird curves that the Bat logo needs to have on the rims, which is a very different Bat logo than anywhere else in the movie or promo material ever. And so, they send that stuff to us. I got a 3D file for that simple Bat logo, so I didn't even have to draw that. And so,
that's great.
The community really, really helps us out.
Yeah,
get this stuff totally accurate.
Yeah. I mean, the one group you never want to mess with, if you're marketing to geeks, the worst thing you can do is get their obsession wrong. I know. Miss that little detail, along the way.
And it's still, I mean, the most clear example of that was the 1966 Batmobile, because you got some passionate fans with that had decades to study that thing, right? But there's been so many iterations that there was actual discussion among the group of which is correct, and there's still stuff like there's a small hole in the back right before the trunk. This is where there was a microphone in the original Futura, and George Barrett never bothered to cover that up, so there's a hole in the actual Batmobile. And the number of emails, so first the fans were like, you got to get that hole in there. And then the number of emails I get from the
drilling all of them.
And so, but then I get a lot of emails from the not so passionate fans that, dude, my Batmobile's broken. There's a hole. And so,
Well, on the flip side, I mean, like with I like the fact that I've heard the story that when for example, you and Hot Toys have on a few occasions released something around the same time, or you're in production of something, and then they have one come out, and it's like, well, are we going to lose, or people are all going to cancel their purchase? But in the end, if anything, it even increases in things, because in most all the cases that I've heard of, you have the right skill. You know, they've commonly been a little bit shorter, or something's off, and people are willing to go for that better model. So. Yeah,
that was a very pleasant surprise, because I mean, we're making usually around 1% of their edition size, and that has such a huge impact on price that our stuff, even though our margins are much, much lower, trust me on this, because I know, our stuff is more expensive because, well, we, apart from trying to get it right, if you make a limited run of a couple of hundred pieces versus 50,000, your quantity to scale and the write-offs are just enormous compared to, so we don't have their efficiency, we don't have the network, I was for sure thinking, with the 1989 Batmobile, as soon as they announced that we would get cancellations, but instead that was the last example, the most recent example is the word I'm looking for, of where we saw an order increase after they showed that they were actually just reusing the molds for the old one. I guess a lot of people have been waiting and see what they would do, and we got like dozens of orders the next day when they showed their hand, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
that was nice. Wow. So you see, there's room, but I want to stay away from that as much as possible. I mean,
makes sense.
The 1989 Batmobile, because it's been so much requested, and yes, it is like 4 inches too small. The nose is too short, and there's a lot of other things. But other than that, they are the level, and they're what everyone strives towards, right? That's the benchmark. So
and how many other companies make them, right?
Right.
Also,
it's interesting to do the 1966 Batman and Robin, because we can do a double pack, and B, the prices are just absolutely ridiculous, and it's been like 10 years ago. So I really want to do that. But other than that, we're very much, as you can see, interested in the figures that are left behind.
Oh, wow.
The
2022 one. Yeah, these
Arkham
are
Knight,
awesome.
Animated. Yeah.
How are you going to, I've heard you talk multiple times about the fact there's been a lot of requests in relation to the animated series, both the vehicles and the figures. How are you doing? I mean, are they going to look like animated? What's the way to put this? Are they going to look like cartoons, or are they going to have more of a paint style, or more? They're going to have that style, but look more like real world. Like what direction are you going with that?
That's still. That is too early to tell.
Is it?
Right now you're seeing like a 3-year plan in this simple PDF. So
that's cool.
Before we get to that, I don't know. It would really depend on the community. If I have a tough call to make, I just poll, right?
Yeah.
This
feels like a shareholder meeting, doesn't it?
With us owning no shares at all.
Well, it's funny. There's a lot of people that seem to think they have shares and insist I do stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's
like,
also
okay,
the
you're not paying
community.
for that. They're very demanding, and sometimes a bit unrealistic in what they and what's the word?
But they're passionate, I guess.
They're very passionate. So you know what? I don't know. But
that's
so
good the way you handle it. Then I mean, you're handling it very well because you're still in business. But
it's not always easy. But
no, I can
overall,
get that.
I mean, it's a whole lot of work because I do this 7 days a week, 24/7. There's 365 days a year. So people always wonder if they see a response on Facebook, is that really me? Yeah, it's really me, because I don't have a lot of people. We have 2 other people doing the emails, and that one is for support, that's Kiara, and the one is for the finance and payment stuff, and that's my wife Janneke, who now works for us since September. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Real
it's-
small company then. Yeah.
and
Half of
it
your
is.
company is family. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, my sons, one of my son's friends.
And all
Wow,
this because of
other-
one small accident with a diorama.
There you go.
Yeah.
So be careful when you post on Facebook, people.
Yeah.
It might turn into a company.
Yeah. That is awesome, though.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember. You were talking before about also doing Alfred, weren't you? Or
Yeah.
As far as is that still
I'm still-
something
I'm still
that
very
you're thinking
interested.
about, or is
Yeah,
that kind of Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. It's just the thing is, again, I've showed you a couple of submissions, and some of them were requests by the community, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the 2022 figures, like some of the 1966s. I mean, even in the 1966 alone, you mentioned Alfred, but then you've got Inspector Gordon there, and you've got, Batgirl is going to be difficult. Apparently, they don't have the right for that, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but you got the King Tut, and you've got the Riddler, and you got so many others that I could
The
still
classic
visit.
ones.
Yeah, and so the thing is, what do you prioritize? Because we don't have that much experience with figures, so I don't know if it's doable to have like 3 or 4 releases a year, or maybe we could do double that. I don't know. So and then again, the community gets to vote which goes first, right?
Yeah.
So
And also, of course, if you have like figures that you could retool or reuse, some people like that, some people don't. But it would-
re-releases and
No, for example, like if you have an actor with the same, that has a different role, but in the same universe, like Michael Keaton playing someone else, like Birdman or whatever. And you make a Birdman figure, and it's a retool of a Batman figure. Some people might like it. Some people want to have a custom sculpt, for example.
that's true. Geeks can pull that out, though. They'll always notice the hair is the same in Tony Stark from this versus his role in another.
But just since we are a mega channel, Joost, what are your favorite tools that you would like to use while working on dioramas? What are the things you would think would be like a must-have if you would accidentally start a company building dioramas? No. But what would be your go-to thing?
In design, I like Fusion 360.
Yeah.
In terms of making, I have some CAD CAM couplings that will allow me to do a CNC program of a design. And then I have a local CNC company, a laser company that can help me make the stuff.
Yeah.
And so, if I had met that guy making guitars or custom parts that needed to be lasered and CNC, then the whole Star Wars thing wouldn't have been possible, because the most of the Star Wars stuff is solid CNC'd aluminum, right?
Right.
And so then of course everybody needs a good Dremel kit, and I'm talking the big kit. And then there's, of course, you need a good airbrush and a good compressor. But
you start out really just with a good solid concept that you can visualize in 3D and then build from there, basically. That's impressive.
So with the fusion stuff, because my son noticed last night you were using fusion because that's what he uses as well for design and stuff. But like with your fusion stuff, when you've created things and you've released pictures also to your community, like are you constantly having to tweak those inside of fusion and because I noticed, like, when you did the I went back, and again, one of my favorite things that you made, that cockpit, I watched a video where you were telling people about the last second add-ons, where you noticed there was these tube ends down here, and so you showed in Fusion where you added those, and then on the other side and then you decided to extend out this and put in some things.
Because there's a difference between the New Hope and the Empire one. It's so that's a whole thing. And so that's why, like with the 1966, I think that design process and the tweaking and the changes upon changes upon changes, that was like 12 months or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Or more. So yeah. Yes, but I'd rather do that than have the tooling done and have to redo it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Do it right the first time around. I noticed you and I hope. Do you mind if I use a clip from one of your YouTube videos?
Sure.
I noticed that when you do face upgrades, I don't know if I can film this so you can see it. The way that you do it on your figures, where you get somebody else's figure and when you upgrade them. For example, you did a Luke Skywalker, from Last Jedi. You get the Luke retouch, and you did it the same way that I do mine, except at the very end, I like the fact that when you're going in with your flat and enamel stuff. Here, I'll show one. Let me see if I can. Here we go. It's coming.
Please. Oh yeah.
There we go. So,
right.
So this is the quarter scale. This is the NECA's quarter scale.
Right.
But I went back and I redid all the faces, and then I also did a 3D print, and then painted the Tony Stark face that's inside the helmet, and also did the helmet, 3D printed the helmet.
Right. Cool.
But I wish I would have done it the way that you do it, because you actually brushed it on. It looks a lot better that way because you had better textures and stuff. The close-ups that you shot looked a lot better. So I think that's how I'm going to do it from now on. Is there's something additional to it? I've been spraying on just kind of a basic sealant kind of thing to flatten that color out. But
no.
I like that.
Definitely use the brush for that. Get a bit of the pour kind of action going. Yeah.
It looks great. It's not an easy thing to do, or it's always the scary thing to do, especially when you're talking something you spent a lot of money on touching it with.
Yeah. But one of the things I've learned is the scary thing is good. Trust your skills in that you will screw up.
Yeah.
You will, but trust that you can fix it.
Yeah.
And you'll learn some cool stuff while fixing it. I've learned the best techniques and the best stuff having to fix screw-ups. So, yeah.
One of the things I built I reverse engineered like one of the Prusa Mark III printers that by then were out but not available. So I reverse engineered it from the manual, and I also have a CNC guy that I can send files to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Vinz has his work. He has all sorts of
I have a
nice resources.
3,000 watt laser cutter for industrial use that I can freely send files to it.
He's making R2 right now.
Yeah, I'm making a 1-to-1 scale R2D2.
Yeah. Can you make two? Maybe.
Yeah.
So
I would love that.
Have you ever had people send you files that you integrate, or that or I mean, from the people that originally designed things to even some of your community that have some tweaks or things that they've designed. Has anyone ever helped contribute to your design?
Yeah. Marcel Leuthold is one in Germany. Who's a huge Star Wars fan. We've exchanged files. So he loved some of the stuff that I did that I sent him, and then he sent some cool stuff back. A very cool part, for the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
He's also helping me now with the Jedi Starfighter. And I might have gotten some original movie files for one
that's cool,
of the things that I've made. I cannot say more about, except that yes.
Yeah.
So there's fans all over the place, and I've got quite a few in Hollywood. Turns out. So
nice.
Well, after you made the Batwing, I know you got contacted by quite a few people that were involved in the original design that had, because it kind of blew up. Some of the video did stuff that they kind of reached out to you and said, "Hey, wow, I did this or that." And, those are connections that you have. But do you ever?
Julian Caldow is the one who originally came up with the design. I talked to him, or he reached out, and then Mark, I forget his last name, is the guy who made the quarter scale model from scratch on set in 1988, saw my stuff and contacted me. So yeah, that's mind blowing.
Well, and did you also use part of the Tested went to Prop Store and did some filming of their full scale stuff. Did you use some of the? They said that they thought that you had noticed some details from some of their close-ups and things. Is that accurate?
Absolutely,
or
that is very true. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Do you ever go to Prop Store?
No.
The England location. Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't actually. Maybe I should.
Oh, yeah?
No, I didn't even know that existed until I saw that video. So the thing.
Oh, really?
For that one, the 1989 Batwing was again a very long, arduous design process, and it had been looked at by all the geeks. And then we were just about ready to go into production of the tooling, and they dropped the Tested.com dropped that video of the quarter scale thing, and we were like, oh man, finally some shots of stuff we'd never seen. Most clearly, the clear example is the scissors at the front. They had this circular saw thing on top that was never visible anywhere in the movie or anywhere on the set pictures that were released. So, all right, back to the drawing board. Paint job, completely different. So, I complained to Adam and Norm that they should have dropped it a couple of months sooner. That said, it saved me a lot of work. But yeah, it's very true. They really did help out a lot, even without them knowing.
Yeah, on our channel actually, I've been in communication with both locations. So I was actually supposed to do a thing with a London location and Mark Hamill. I was going to be doing something with, but Vinz had contacted me and he said, hey, I know that they have the R2 and stuff, but nobody's been able to get good close picture of the hoses that are on the bottoms of the feet.
Right.
And so I contacted them and they sent us
insane amount of detail.
Photos. They took it for us from the actual one that was there, so that they could do some. Because they were trying to figure out. You guys were trying to figure out the number of threads to figure out the size of the hose.
Yeah, there was some guy on the Astromech forum, and he was like, "Yeah, this is something I've been wrecking my brain because he sells like the replica hoses for the R2s, and he just couldn't get through the thread count and the dimensions and everything." And I'm like, "Hey, Prop Store is just selling one of them on the auctions, and they have pretty good pictures." And the guy's like, "Yeah, but I couldn't get the angle right." And I was like, "Hey, Jeremy, can you contact this guy to make better pictures?" Yeah, sure, why not? So we did, and it was pretty effortless, which is really, really surprising because I thought it was, you're asking something.
They're super nice and they love taking pictures and they love 3D scanning things and stuff. So if you see something on their, they got a lot of stuff they never let you know that they're even selling.
Yeah, so I would just get in contact.
Although some things that are movie level too, like we had Dan you know who Dan Lanigan is? He's big. He's a big collector of and had a show on Disney actually for prop collecting and stuff. And he was selling through Prop Store. He was selling a couple of his props, which he had. Let's see here. He had Doc and he had Biff, the figures that were inside of the 6-foot DeLorean.
Oh wow!
From the movie, that he was selling and stuff. But you wouldn't want to make what those look like because they would not be something people would want to. They look horrible. You know what I mean?
Really crappy.
They're basically figures to just. I mean, you could see them. They were puppets, but at the same time, like not the detail that you would make to put into one of your things. Speaking of DeLoreans, I mean, that's one of your things you would love to make, but there's also been a number of them released.
Yeah,
is that something you're still looking at, DeLoreans or the Knight Rider?
Kit
car. Oh, really? Yeah.
This is cool. Yeah. So there's a guy in Finland called Ansi, and he contacted me after one of the other streams I did, and I've never made a secret of the fact that I really, really want to do a kit because that was my jam back in the 80s. That was the coolest thing on the planet, right? So he researched it and he built a kit replica that is. Anyway, after that stream, he invited me to come over to Finland and we could drive his car and I could take all the pictures I want for my kit project. So, kit's still very much on my radar. I want to do that.
Would you have all the little light up stuff on the inside? The voice box that goes like this. Oh, yeah. I sat in the kit car as a kid and because at Universal Studios, they used to have back in the day, it wasn't about rides and stuff. Like you went there, you did the backlot tour. The backlot tour was like 4 hours, and stuff. But they also had a kit car that was just sitting there, and you went and sat in it, and they had somebody that sounded just like him that would talk to you, while you were sitting in the car. So you'd have a conversation and stuff, and you got to sit in there. And I just remember looking at that, the missed opportunity of getting pictures.
Yeah.
It's
you Americans are so lucky. I mean, that was just, that would have been inconceivable if you're in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But
sitting in the actual kit car.
I'd love to see your kit car, but I'd also like to see your semi that it would go into.
The night. The night show.
Sure.
And
Full scale, right?
Yeah.
Why don't do the whole Grand Canyon as well then?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. You get working on that.
I got that plan right after the full-scale Death Star.
Yeah. You do have big portions of the Batcave done.
Yeah.
Do you have, when you guys go to shows, do you ever think about just making something that's only like just a single thing that you put together just for a show? Like, I don't know if you ever saw I don't know if it was in China or Japan, the Hot Toys, I think it was Hot Toys, made the 1/6 scale, the full Millennium Falcon that was sitting out, and they had all the, you saw that? But everybody probably wanted that.
Yeah,
I wonder where that is. They probably just threw it away, broke it apart.
But they get a lot of angry fans that want it, right? That's the problem.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever think of making something just for the show, just to kind of show off, some of your things? Like a diorama for your dioramas?
No. See, that is the difference between them and us. I couldn't even afford that if I wanted to. See, that's not to be a bummer about this, but we can't even have the shows they're at, let alone make that sort of thing, right?
Oh,
you could do a Joost kit, like with your desk and your fingers, and then the making of.
Yeah. There you go.
And my soldering iron.
Yes, exactly.
See how many.
With the Japanese, with the Gundams, they actually made a model kit of the machines that made the model kit. Yeah. So I got one of those downstairs. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very cool. We don't. We can't afford that kind of thing. We can't afford that kind of overhead. If we do something, it has to be made. And
Anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the nice thing I noticed. It's the nice thing I noticed also, you said with the snow speeder, like you learned your lesson saying, okay, we're not going to do any extras or any overbuilding anymore because it's just not worth it. So you're either stuck with a lot of overhead or you're just making a gamble on something that you might not be able to pay back if it really goes off the deep end, I guess.
Yeah. So
right. Yeah.
The one thing is, usually in the toy industry, the thing you're buying actually costs a couple of bucks to make, right? And the rest is all marketing and all chains that have to make some money off it. The factory, the company that has the license, the wholesaler for the region, then the retail store has to make, So there's a whole lot of air in there, which is why a lot of the stuff we make usually couldn't be made, because that would have required a huge amount of volume to get that kind of margin to make it worthwhile, right? And so we do very low volume, and that's why we don't have a lot of people on the payroll, because we can't afford that. And we can say that up to 75% of what you're paying us goes straight into that single vehicle that you bought, or that single diorama that you bought.
Yeah.
And so imagine then if you have 25% left and you still have to pay PayPal, your accountant, the storage, your website, internal personnel for the people that you have on payroll.
Yeah.
So the margin is much less than that. And then you make, even if you make 10% extra that you don't sell, you have not made any money on that entire project, which took you 18 months. So that's why you can't do it anymore. And it's frustrating, because now we have wait lists of hundreds of people in some cases, right, for like the 1966 Batmobile, because many people don't wake up or don't want to buy it until they see the actual product in hand, even though more and more people learn to trust us up front. But then by the time that things are in hand, production has started, so I've already made the commitment and I'm not making any extra. So by definition, it's going to be sold out.
Yeah.
And so we do lose a lot of sales that way. It's good for the collector because they got a lot of, they got some very exclusive stuff. And for like our 1966, they go on eBay for like $3,500 or $4,000 or something like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's good for them. But yeah, it's I cannot risk it. I've done it a couple of times, and I'm stuck with like a couple of things where I'm still stuck with stuff, and I'm just not doing that anymore. So there's so many projects that way that I just lost money on, even though it took me like 18 or 24 months of work, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the reality of the way we have to work. It's what it is.
One thing I was telling Vinz before you got on, I was explaining to him because he mentioned, he was like, it sounds like he must be really busy because he's got like 20 projects coming out once. But I told him the thing I'd heard from you a little while ago was that basically between tooling and everything else, like there's so much time that's just nothing can be done. But it's better to have multiple projects and multiple phases, so that then you're always, there's always something you're working on, and there's always something is going to be coming out. And so but from the outside, it looks like you just got a slew of things. They're just
I was impressed. Like wow, but also
but
for yourself.
I mean,
but for yourself, is it like mentally taxing, or is it something that you keep on going, saying, okay, I can still handle this, but not anymore? Or how close are you? Like, it's just something you I hope enjoy, of course, because you ran into it by accident. But honestly, I mean, there's going to be a time where the tooling is being made, and you have to say, okay, well, this is the last one, I guess. Maybe in the very near far future, but at
that point is going to come. I'm surprised at how long this stays fun.
Okay.
So I mean, we realistically started in 2014, like kind of hobby-like, and then in 2017 it turned to an actual company. So we've been doing this quite a few years, and it is a balancing act where you have to have the right kind of projects at the right time, and it's like you said, Jeremy. So you have to have some in design, some in prototyping, some in tooling, some in early production sampling, then in production runs. And I've got a lot of suppliers, right, that I have to work with. And all I'm constantly working on is getting maximum amount of efficiency, keeping the costs down, and getting the most bang for your buck for you and for me. So if anything I can do to keep this thing going for as long as possible, right? That is my goal, because it is a lot of fun. I get to do it with my family. It is a lot of fun because I built quite a few companies in my day. That was what I did.
Okay.
And so I know what I want now, and I know what's not fun. And so I like to keep it small. I've run big companies, and you're working on getting everybody motivated and strategy and marketing and all. It's all about keeping that huge ship going. And I mean, taking a course correction that will take 3 years, or you're working 3 years in advance of where the rest is, and it's just really not fun. And right now, everything I do and my wife's the same. It's like everything I do and every decision I make now goes straight to somebody's happy, or it goes straight to the bottom line. And it's so much more hands-on, and it's so much more rewarding that you get that feedback from the people, and that email where I printed out and we put it on the board, where like I felt like a kid at Christmas again for the first time in 40 years. And we get a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's emotionally very rewarding. And I've never been able to find work where I can do so much of the things I love. I mean, down to making, I'm really currently working on a product video for the 1995 Batmobile, and I'm making the music for the music video.
No,
really? I shoot the video. I shoot the video for it. I help with the design. I have my hands in pretty much everything, right?
Yeah. As you go
but
wider,
it's also, but it's also managing cash flow, managing your profit and loss statements, and
Yeah.
I've also done that, right? So it's anything from sales and marketing to music to design to management, sales and marketing and finance. It's all in there, right? So that's
It's your
fun,
own
and
microcosmos,
it's,
so to say, that you can work in.
Yeah. And
The biggest reason we wanted to get you on the show is because you, and the people that we interview, I don't know if you saw any of our other interviews of people that we've talked to, but I mean, like in every case, the people we're picking is not just because they have a product or something like that. It's because, like, the people for this channel, it's people that are collectors, makers, consumers. What is it like to be? I mean, because you're creating something that you're collecting yourself too, right? I've watched some of your opening, like eventually when everything gets done and the packages start coming through, you open one of your items. Like I watched one of your you unboxing one of your items and stuff. It was like it was somebody else's product that you got, and you were very excited about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would be as well if you saw
like,
that.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah. It's so amazing where, especially for tough things like the 1966, for the longest time, it seemed like we couldn't catch a break, with getting the design right, getting the tooling and getting the parts to fit, getting the paint right, the electronics, because that was very complicated. And then seeing that thing in a real art box that was designed by a very cool guy, Christopher, who works for us. No, he doesn't work for us. He's he applied for do you need someone to do the packaging for you? I can do it, and he does it for a reasonable price. He does amazing work. So we got a genuine art box. It's got the real logos on it. It's officially licensed, and it's here. And
it's cool.
Sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around that. It something takes a couple of days. It's done. It's finally here. It worked. And if I look to the left on my desk, I do my homework. I love my homework. And if I get bored, I'm playing with my figures, getting these
awesome.
together in poses.
Yeah.
So it's I'm living the dream that way.
Well, nice.
The fun thing is, it was quite hard at first, and a lot of people didn't know you. So and for a lot of Americans, I'm Dutch and European, so that's Eurotrash, and oh my God, is this going to happen?
Can't even pronounce the guy's name.
Now, exactly. Oh, this is a scam and all that. And but now what we've really noticed, especially this last year when we've delivered so many products like the 1966 Night, the Batwing, so there's a lot of stuff, the Bat Signal, and people are like, okay, these guys are for real. They do what they say and they say what they do. And I'm no, and if I snooze, I lose. And there's a wait list, and so people start treating you more respectfully, and start appreciating more what you do, and that also makes it.
What you say is you should lose, and also by the amount of quality and the stuff you do, and the openness especially. It is how would you say? Just for as an outsider looking in, it shows as a bit a humble boutique brand, so to say. It's made to order, almost like what you want. But
technically, and
it's also very exquisite because it is not cheap for the average collector, but for the more mature collector. But it is price quality wise a very good deal, if I may say so.
It's so cool.
But it's also I think something that really appeals to a lot of people in such a way is that we have to keep Joost in our sight because you never know what's going to pop up, and that's of course brilliant marketing because people Batman fans are probably going to be keeping track of your daily life day by day. Say what else has he got in store? That's really great. And of course, being a Dutch guy myself, seeing that pop up here in the Low Countries, as they say, it's really cool.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah. Do you ever feel weird about? Because you tell me if I'm wrong, but you also collected or like the hot toy stuff and things like that, right? It's hard. Is it weird to be at the same time? there's a little bit of competition though at the same time that's there, or them kind of coming along and doing their thing and stuff. Is that strange at all? Is that a weird experience?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes, it is. I mean, the first time I was aware that they were actually aware of me, watching me, and responding to me, that was kind of mind blowing in itself, right?
Yeah.
And then when they showed that 2022 rendering one day after I had opened pre-orders, which was, well, I had a confirmation from inside too. That was such a clear response to what I was doing. If that was
okay,
yeah, and the fact that I was talking to Universal, I was very, very close to signing the deal on the DeLorean. They were very excited about it, and then all of a sudden, the Universal goes silent after responding to every message within a couple of hours, and 2 weeks later, Hot Toys shows the DeLorean 2 that they'd had in stock for 7 years at one time. So, yeah, but basically, so Hot Toys, like I said, is still the gold standard. They do amazing work, and I think they've put the 6 scale stuff on the map and made it a legitimate business, a legitimate thing to collect. So, all respect there, and that's why I want to stay away from them as much as possible. I don't want to get in their way. What's the point, right?
Right.
Because there's so much market. I mean, look at these. I showed you all these figures that I can still do, and if they want to do all of them, then I've still got 24. I've got a list, single-spaced A4 of 4 or 5 pages long with people's suggestions or requests. So there's going to be work for everyone. There's no need to get in each other's way, but sometimes it's inevitable. Like with the 1989, I wanted the 1989 because that when I was 15, so that's my first real Batman, and I wanted the movie accurate one. I wanted the one with the proper nose, it's a long vehicle, and it just looks too short and stubby to me. So I wanted that. People requested it, and that was the real litmus test, as we discussed earlier in this interview, that people didn't drop me as soon as Hot Toys showed them theirs. Again, it shows even if we both do the same thing, there's plenty of room for both of us. And so that's the way I look at that. I respect them, and I want to get out of their way. If Howard sends me a list of stuff that says, you don't touch that, and you get the rest, and I'm like, I would be cool, sure.
I would ask for a copy of that they're making, though.
Yeah.
Sure, I would touch it if you give me one there.
Yeah.
Just
tell us this, because I am curious. We haven't really touched on this. It sounds. I mean, if we took what we've heard so far, it sounds almost like you just jumped in and you already knew how to do everything, and it was just I'm just started turning out things and stuff. I mean, how much growth have you had to have, or error or learning curve has there been in this process of doing of making these things?
I can imagine.
Yeah,
massive. Yeah. So, we learned new stuff with everything we did. We first did like 2.5D, if you're talking gaming terms, with the anything that you could see and see. But when we wanted to do some more complex organic stuff, the first thing we did there was the land speeder, the X34, right? And we learned stuff from that. That led to the best bid gantry, which led to the meditation chamber, which led to the Millennium Falcon. And then with the Falcon, I was confident when people approached me to do the Justice Mobile that we could do that. And it's like a 33% overconfidence, and 33% experience getting yourself out of the trouble and the hole you dug yourself in, and then it's just 33% experience with all the things that I've done before. Because like I said, I've done anything from PCB design and soldering to cutting to airbrushing and weathering, and so I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
but the more advanced we got, more I also needed suppliers to tell me what worked and what doesn't work. I mean, I understand everything we do. I can do a little bit of everything we do, so I could jump in and do any job, but I wouldn't be the best at every job. I mean, it's not real. So
Gotcha.
right now, thanks to our massive supplier list and the experience we've gotten with suppliers and what works and what doesn't work is how we can do stuff. And so the cool thing is, going back to your other question, keeping it light and keeping it going, the beautiful thing about the figures is that's an entirely different supply chain, so that doesn't interfere with anything or has no impact on anything we do in the vehicle and diorama side of things.
I guess
it doesn't slow anything down. It's a different skill set altogether. So
and your own brand also. I mean, you're not the guy who does hot toy stuff. You're your own brand with your own scale.
It's your own thing. Yeah. I contacted you, or I asked you a little bit ago because one of my big limitations is clear stuff. So I've tried doing a few things with Windows, and honestly, I've had to buy. Basically, I've had for Model League. I did the Rick and Morty vehicle, and I did that around the fact that I could go to get a clear dome, and the clear dome is what set my scale because I had no idea how to make that clear dome. And now I'm trying to make a spinner from Blade Runner. Right. And there's all these stinking curved windows and so I asked you about how in the world how would you go about doing this if you're not going to be sending it off to someplace to mass produce it, which where you kind of make that happen kind of thing. So.
Yeah, but that is the reality. I mean. So for the 1995, if you look closely at the pictures, at the prototype, the window isn't as clear and smooth as it's going to be in production because that's 3D printed.
Wow, really? You 3D printed that?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's
just clear, what, PLA or what do you use?
Well, I'm now working together with a new supplier. When we are off this stream, I'm going to send you some pictures that the new supplier sent me of what they say they can do. That really got my hopes up and got me excited. But as soon as you go into production, then it's injection molded, or we for the snow speeder we we CNC'd a mold in the correct negative shape, and we put some plexiglass on top of that and heated it so that it stank into that shape, right?
Okay.
So we've done a lot of different things. But if you want the real high quality stuff, that needs molds and a couple of 100 pieces, right? To make. Yeah. So yeah.
You're not gonna make a little thing for yourself that's gonna be produced by a company.
I have a very tiny vacuum form machine that is this big that I can maybe make something for you.
Vacuum forming is an excellent. We've done a couple of vacuum form things. Yeah, that's another thing, another way to go. But the 3D printing is getting better, Jeremy. Like I said, when the stream's over, I can show you some pictures that the supplier sent me of their 3D printed stuff, including clear stuff that is quite amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
we gotta stay in contact. I do have also if you're needing to get a hold of some people, we do know people. There's something you can't track down. We do know some people. We know a lot of the people that own these things. That have particularly in LA. I know quite a few people that have purchased. I mean, like your kit car. I know one of the original kit car owners.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. But anyway, So feel free in.
Cool.
We'd love to stay in contact. So that's a definite. But yeah. Oh, hey.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Look at that's 3D printed.
3D printed, my man. Look at that.
No way.
That is incredible.
That's even optical. Yeah.
That is. Yeah, I don't get how they did that.
So
that's too clear. How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know. So the thing is, I've got a lot of suppliers that promise me a lot of stuff. And people that see my stuff or see the interviews and then want to work with me. So most of them are full of SHIT, but this one seems legit. So
wow,
we're going to be testing that, but that's something to be excited about, isn't it?
Yeah. That's really
So
cool.
that guy either has
I'm
a really
sorry,
good
yeah.
3D printer or a very good polishing machine.
I mean, yeah,
Or-
probably you do have to treat it too. But
Yeah.
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's nice.
Man.
Well,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so-
very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very fun. Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you from the bottom of my heart, and also thank you from my wife's bottom. There's
That's
a book. I have to send it to you. And my wife got that book. So there's this guy who worked at Philips, which is a Dutch company, and he collected his whole career, 25 years of Dutch managers screwing up English language and mixing it with Dutch, and creating all those kind of fun things. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and also from my wife's bottom. That from that book. There's
We always
hilarious.
get our sin.
That's pretty good.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we always get
Yeah.
our sin. Yes.
Yeah. I had a manager once who was said that our company needed more convicts instead of more conviction. So yeah.
I could use some more
pretty good.
convicts, sure.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Lame.
we talked about checking out. I mean, what we wanted to see, like I said, this is less about the company. Even it's more about you and you as a collector. So what we were wanting to get originally was just see more of your personal collection, see what you kind of do, how you.
If you're
have it.
comfortable with that,
I didn't even ask you on the as far as the recording part goes. As far as like how, if you collect some of your own stuff, where are you putting this? Like
Yeah, well, that's a good question. That's a tricky one. So the stuff is big, right? And in the Netherlands, we
Right.
don't have a lot of space. So I have all my stuff, or the stuff that I still have at work, at the location, but that is rented. And actually, I've just how do you say that? Canceled the rent, so I'm moving to a new location. So,
I
and what
gotcha.
I really want is some nice displays. So I don't even have a nice display. I don't know if this is a typical Dutch thing, but we have a saying here that the guy who paints houses, his house is always in the worst shape, right? So
yeah.
that's the way it is for my collection as well. I mean, I have a couple of details here where I used to have my detail stuff in there, but that's also gone now. So I've got a bunch of Hot Toys figures sitting to the left of me, and all my other stuff is at work, but it's in very cheap wooden racks. And I really want those.
I think I saw your racks. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I got that from
the kind you would put in
local.
the garage kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we got that from the local kringloop. What would that be, Vince?
Thrift store.
The thrift store, right? And I want some Maji cases, but the wait for that is like 9 to 12 months.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't measure it in because I know that I'm not going to stay at the location I'm currently at. So
Right.
yeah, the what you've seen so far is the best. Is that it's been for a while with regards to my own stuff, and I'm actually on eBay a lot trying to buy back a lot of my stuff because a lot of the old stuff I don't even have anymore. Yeah. I couldn't afford to keep everything when I was building the company, right? And when I remember that the cash flow was so tight at one point, I was doing a 12 scale Tativ, and I needed to get a couple of 12 scale Black Series Hasbro figures, and I just had enough cash to buy 4. That is it. So, yeah. So,
what's your favorite figure? I mean, what's the thing of what you've collected, yours or other people's? What's your prized possession then?
Well, I still love my
Hammerhead.
So the
The Hammerhead.
Wow. The Hot Toys.
Luke
That's great.
Heavily
That's great.
customized, as you can see, repainted and weathered and all that sort of thing.
But
So
that's
that
also
one I
your
love.
favorite Kenner figure, of course, then upscale.
Yeah,
so to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did a repaint of what's this? Let's see. Can you see this one?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
I repainted that one.
So all you need is Chewbacca. Do you have Chewbacca too to put with those?
Yeah, I do. But that one's at work, sitting in the cockpit. So and I one of the other favorites I really love, because I used to I got into it. Over Iron Man. I love
nice.
The die
From
cast
Iron Man
part.
2.
Yeah, and I had this idea for the longest time, which is why I also have this one. I have two of these to make like a three step by step on how he goes from that.
Really pulling it out
to this, yeah. So
that'd be very cool.
Still working on that, but
I'm a huge Iron Man fan.
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be really cool.
I love that. I love my Snowspeeder Luke. I love my Tarkin, Old Man Han. I've got the last two, Endgame and what was the one before, Infinity War, Iron Man. I got a bunch of figures, but yeah.
So the pictures I've seen of your dioramas, those are your personal figures then that you've also stuck in there. I gotcha. Okay, because I recognize all the ones you've named are ones I've seen in your pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Man, what about the guitar? What's your favorite guitar that you got?
Alexis, it's this one. It's a PRS.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
Hololati. I really dig this one.
Pickups and everything on. Oh
yeah. I know. But I built this one. I like this one too. This one is one of mine.
Did you really?
Oh, nice.
So you laser cut? Did you laser cut that body then?
CNC.
CNC'd it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I laser cut
That's
this.
very
This
cool.
is metal, and then actually got my signature in the back. I don't know if you can see that.
Nice.
That's very cool.
Nice,
yeah. And then I recently got a really cool acoustic. So I also designed those.
That's cool.
So,
man. And so now we can put your music as part of what you're making then too. Right?
Yeah, all the music you hear in all the product videos with me.
Nice.
Yeah. Start releasing DVDs or CDs with all your all your figures.
Yeah.
Full background music. Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you get moved or if you don't mind Vinz dropping by someday. I mean, we'd love to see what you got collection wise in your
so collection wise, that I would really want to wait until we get some get that stuff going, get moved, but that could take quite a few months. You're welcome to come by now. There's not a lot that I can show you. Well, let's see. There's one custom project.
Well, there's a custom project. What's the custom project?
Let's see if I can show you that. Let's see. Where am I from? Maybe I can show you the video. This is one that's been worked in the works for a long time. Let's. Can you see?
Ooh, that looks cool.
Yeah, that thing is massive. That thing is.
Oh man, it looks just like the one at. It looks exactly like the one at Disneyland.
Yeah. This is the one a customer asked me to make, and so that is exactly based on the one at Disneyland.
Is that 1/6 scale?
No, that's 12 scale. So that thing is 7
12
feet wide.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, we've got the guy who did.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
And so there's the guy who made the 4K conversion of A New Hope. He made a video.
Yeah.
So you're seeing an LG OLED in the background, right? So there's a 77-inch LG OLED that's going to be mounted right behind that, right up against it.
Man.
And then we've got a video, and in that video, it hyper jumps to all the planets, and then you see all the vehicles come past. And so
nice.
Once it's all set up there, that was a
Jeez.
massive project. Yeah,
I bet. Well, you said for custom stuff. I mean, it takes as long to do one custom job as it would for you to basically go ahead and produce a whole slew of things. So doing customs tends to make a lot of sense usually.
That's why I know that now. That was the project I accepted years ago. He wasn't in any rush, and I'm finally done. But that's the first and the last custom job. I can say that.
Well, as far as you can call it custom, because most of the other stuff you're doing is pretty, really inspired by the community already. So, yeah.
Yeah. And something, I mean,
it's amazing how big something even 1/12 can be. I did the only big diorama I've done was Tony Stark's garage, which was and I still have it. It's 4 feet wide. 4 feet wide, 3 feet deep, and then about 3 feet tall.
Right.
And it used up, big portion of the room for that little figures that were about, this tall. But at the same time, it's where do you put the stuff?
Yeah.
My wife made me take it down. Can't be married and have that stuff is the problem. So,
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, we appreciate your time. We'll stay in contact.
Absolutely.
So if we what are the questions that if we try to join your Facebook forum? Is that something you are willing to share? Or do we just Oh
no, it doesn't matter what you answer. Just we're just trying to root out the bot. So you just go to the JazzInc Star Wars. Yeah. So it just asks you what's your favorite franchise, what do you collect, all that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
What's Joe's first action figure is Hammerhead, of course.
That's one of the first things I'm going to be doing. Yeah, we're going to do this as soon as I get off the computer.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
To learn more about Joost and JazzInc Dioramas, be sure to check out his YouTube channels at JazzInc Dioramas and Joost Assink, and check out their store at jazzincdioramas.com. Also, be sure to stay tuned for future videos. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment below.
This is your Geek Fix.